Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Respectable Rector of Universitas Komputer Indonesia, Profesor Dr. Insinyur Haji Edi Suryanto Sugoto MT. Our distinguished keynote speakers, Profesor Dr. Nikolay Megits, Webster University, United States. Profesor Ting Su Hie, Universiti Malaysia, Sarawak, Malaysia. Dr. Ciorstan Smark, University of Wollongong, Australia. Dr. Nazar Mustapha, Dillard University, United States. Dr. DũngAnh Tran, Hien University, Vietnam. Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni, S.IP, M.Si, Universitas Komputer, Indonesia.
Respectable our conference co-host, Dr. Wati Susilawati, M.Si, Dean of Faculty of Economy, Universitas Garut. Respectable our conference co-host, Muhammad Iqbal S.A.M.Com, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Institut Teknologi dan Bisnis Bina Sarana Global. Respectable our conference co-host, Nguyen Dui Curong, Manager of Scientific Management and International Affairs Department, Hien Universiti, Vietnam. Respectable Vice Rectors and Deans of Faculties in Universitas Komputer Indonesia. Respectable Directors, Heads and Secretary of Departments, Heads of Divisions, and Heads of Unit in Universitas Komputer Indonesia. Respectable Lecturers and Staff of Universitas Komputer Indonesia. And last but not least, all guests and conference participants.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Universitas Komputer Indonesia and the 7th International Conference on Business, Economic, Social Science, and Humanities, icobest 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to host this conference series. The opportunity to meet in person and exchange ideas at this conference is invaluable. We look forward to the stimulating discussions and insights that will undoubtedly arise from our gathering.
We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to the Rector of Unicom, Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Edi Suryanto Sugoto MT, for his endless support of this conference. We also thank the Vice Rectors and Deans of Unicom for their support. We must also recognize the committee's tireless effort in managing this series conference offline and online through Zoom meeting today, May 16, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to express our sincere gratitude to our distinguished keynote speakers for generously sharing their insights and expertise with us at this conference. With their contribution, this year's theme, Sustainable Transformation Based on Environmental, Social, and Governance, ESG in Digitalized Era, has been enriched and elevated. We would also like to extend our honest appreciations to all participants who have joined us in this shared commitment to knowledge and progress. We are more than grateful for your presence and contributions to this valuable opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin this conference, we kindly request that you stand with us as we sing the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and the March of Unicom. This session will be conducted by Tresna Alfiani.
Please arise, ladies and gentlemen.
sumber daya manusia untuk kepentingan bangsa. Demi Indonesia kita tercinta, tak goyah, tak gentar, menembus tantangan. Unikom maju berjaya, menyala di dada, semangat membara. Unikom jaya selamanya. Universitas Komputer Indonesia, tingkatkan sumber daya manusia untuk kepentingan bangsa. Demi Indonesia kita tercinta.
Be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to view a concise video presentation about Universitas Komputer Indonesia.
Welcome to Indonesian Computer University, Unikom, Bandung, a university with a new paradigm of higher education based on information technology. This university is established in 2000 and located in an education center area in Jalan Dipati Ukur, Bandung. Its location is strategic and reachable. As a modern university based on information technology and digital systems, Unikom builds competitive advantage through the peaky professionalism, integrity, quality, IT, and excellence culture. Its campus is equipped by various digital sophisticated facilities with online and multimedia mobile technology, so that Unikom is a right education place for people who want to be scientists in their own fields and also reliable and professional in the field of information technology. Unikom has 7 faculties, namely Engineering and Computer Science, Economic and Business, Law, Social and Political, Design, Humanities, and Postgraduate Faculty. Faculty of Engineering and Computer Science, with majoring Informatic Engineering, Computer System, Industrial Engineering, Architecture Engineering, Informatic Management, Regional and City Planning, Computer Engineering, Computerization Accountancy, Civil Engineering, and Electrical Engineering. Faculty of Economics and Business has majoring Accountancy, Management, Marketing Management, and Finance and Banking. Faculty of Law with majoring Law Science. Faculty of Social and Political has majoring Government Science, Communication Science, and International Relations. Faculty of Design with majoring Visual Communication Design and Interior Design. Faculty of Humanities has majoring English Literary and Japanese Literary. In addition to maintaining the undergraduate educational level, Unikom also maintains Faculty of Postgraduate. The postgraduate faculty has 4 study programs that have been accredited, namely Doctor of Management Science, Magister Information System, Magister Management, and Magister Design. Unikom also carry out international class education. This program study taught in international class is the information system to cooperate with the world's top universities. International class followed by students from various countries in the world. Academic activities in Unikom run well due to the complete facilities it has. In addition to lecturing room for providing scientific theories, Unikom has built various facilities for practices in the form of laboratories and studios. 80% of learning processes are provided in the form of direct practices, so that the students will get used to working environment and that the graduates will be the human resources firstly chose by companies and industrial environment. Quality and education in Unikom are highly supported by competent lecturers in their own fields. Experienced lecturers provide quality subject contents with convenient teaching methods. Indonesia Computer University, Unikom, successfully accredited by the Accreditation Ratings A or Unggul. by National Accreditation for Higher Education, or BAN-PT. Simago Institutional Ranking recently assessed Unicom as one of the universities entitled to hold the title of world-class university based on assessments in 3 different categories. Unicom's achievement as a world-class university is certainly a proud achievement. This is also proof that currently Unicom has become a university that is leading and of high quality, progressing and continuing to develop. At present, Unicom has received various achievements and awards, both on a regional, national and international scale. Among others, participated in 51 international competitions, achieved more than 150 awards, participated in 150 national competitions, achieved more than 200 awards. Unicom's progress with various great achievements has made Unicom today one of the leading private universities in Indonesia. Unicom, excellent campus of the champions.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome all distinguished guests, colleagues, and researchers to the 7th edition of the International Conference on Business, Economics, Social Sciences, and Humanities, icobest 2024. I extend a warm greeting to the respectable Rector of Unicom, Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Edi Suryanto Sugoto MT, and all members of Unicom's top management, honored keynote speakers, co-hosts, and all esteemed presenters and participants. I also express my gratitude to the organizing committee as well as the co-hosts of this conference, namely Hien University, Garut University, and Bina Sarana Global Institute of Technology and Business for their hard work and dedication in making this conference success. In this year's icobest we are happy to announce that 201 papers have been submitted to this conference, which prove that the spirit of research, community, and mutual cooperation is still going strong. We highly appreciate the enthusiasm. This year's themes, sustainable transformation towards digitalization based on environmental, social, and governance, ESG, reflect our aim to bring attention to utilize digitalization as a tool for advancing sustainability and responsible business practices. The conference will offer a variety of presenting formats, including keynote speeches and oral presentation, and the best papers will have the opportunity to be published in a Scopus Index International Journal. I encourage all presenters to actively engage in this stimulating discussion throughout the conference and make the most of this opportunity to network and learn from each other. I hope this international conference will serve as a platform for researchers and academics to showcase their latest findings and breadth for practitioners in the fields of business, economics, social science, and humanities. Wishing everyone a productive and successful conference. Thank you. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next agenda is the opening speech and conference official inaugurations by Dean of Faculty of Law, Dr. Hati Hasana SHMH. The floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi, wilujeng enjing. I extend my greetings to the distinguished head of the Science and Technology Foundation or her representative, the esteemed Rector of Unikom, Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Edi Suryanto Sugoto MT, as well as to the respected Vice Rectors, Deans, Directors, Head of Division, and all esteemed faculty members at Unikom. Honorable keynote speakers, Dr. Nikolay Megits, Dr. Nazar Mustapha, Professor Ting Su Hie, Dr. Ciorstan Smark, Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni S.IP M.Si, and Dr. DũngAnh Tran. We extend a warm morning greeting and a heartfelt welcome to Universitas Komputer Indonesia, esteemed members of the icobest organizing committee and distinguished participants are present today. First and foremost, let us express our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for granting us the blessing of good health, enabling us to attend and participate in the 7th International Conference on Business, Economic, Social Science, and Humanities at Universitas Komputer Indonesia with theme Sustainable Transformation Toward Digitalization based on environmental, social, and governance. The world has entered the 5.0 industrial and societal revolution era. This phase marked a significant leap, impacting various fields where information technology is fully utilized to achieve the utmost efficiency, resulting in the digitization of various sectors. This digitalization process aims to balance technological advancement with social problem solving. We recognize the current phenomenon and ground the necessary digitalization in environmental, social, and good governance principles. In today's conference, let us collectively absorb various information and knowledge related to environmental, social, and governance-based digitalization to achieve sustainable transformation as presented by keynote speakers from various countries. May today's event broaden our perspective to confront the myriad challenges of globalization and digitalization in this century. Enjoy the conference and engage enthusiastically in discussion. With Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the 7th International Conference on Business, Economic, Social Science, and Humanities at Universitas Komputer Indonesia with the Sustainable Transformation Toward Digitalization based on environmental, social, and governance is officially open. That concludes my remarks. Thank you for your attention. Billahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We kindly request the Dean of Faculty of Law to remain at side, and we kindly request the conference chair, Dr. Poni Sukaisi Kurniati, to accompany the Dean of Faculty of Law in the formal inaugurations of this conference, which will be marked by the opening video of icobest 2024. Thank you to the Dean of Faculty of Law and the conference chair. Please be seated.
Distinguished guests, we are pleased to announce a collaborative partnership in international cooperation between Unicom and Hien University. We are about to witness a significant moment, the MOU signing of cooperation documents. In light of this, we cordially invite the esteemed Vice Rector for Research and Cooperation, Associate Professor Dr. Agus Rianto, STMT CSBA, and the Manager of Scientific Management and International Affairs Department at Hien University, Mr. Nguyen Dung Chuang, to step forward to the podium for the MOU signing of documents. The symbolic act marks of the commencement of our shared journey toward mutual growth and success.
Please come forward. This symbolic act marks the commencement of our shared journey towards mutual growth and success in the future. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, to facilitate a smooth progression of our conference, we will now proceed with a prior recitation. Cepi Nur Albar SS will conduct this session, and therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we kindly request your attention during this session.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pray according to our own beliefs, and please allow me to guide this prayer according to Islam. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa azimi sultanik. Walakal hamdu bil Islam, walakal hamdu bil iman, walakal hamdu bil Quran, walakal hamdu bil qiyam, walakal hamdu bil khusyu'. Walakal hamdu bis sabr, walakal hamdu bit ta'at, walakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa azimi sultanik. Oh Allah, we praise you for the blessings and the guidance that have allowed us to gather here for the international conference icobest in the year 2024. Oh Allah, all praise belongs to you, and none is worthy of worship except you. Please make this international conference a source of knowledge, unity, and a catalyst for our devotion and our work in your path. Oh Allah, please make this conference a gathering that is blessed by your presence and guided by your wisdom. Please bless this conference from the beginning until the end. Please grant us the health, strength, and capability to fulfill our responsibilities in this world. Ya Rahman, you are the most merciful and the most forgiving. Our sins are countless, but your mercy knows no bounds. So please, forgive our sins. Please, forgive the sins of our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the sins of all of our brothers and sisters. Please fill our heart with your love, make our iman strong, and make us worthy of your paradise. Please remove from our heart the love of everything that you don't love, and make us an obedient servant of you. Oh Allah, please grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And with the knowledge that you have provided, please bestow us with the ability to help the poor and the needy. You are our Lord. None is worthy of worship but you. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas sami'ul alim wa tub alaina innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wakina azaban nar, wakina azaban nar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun alal mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin ya Allah ya rabbal alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us proceed to the main agenda, the plenary session from our distinguished keynote speakers. Andreas Delmaydi, PhD, will chair this session.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to inform you that this session will be in a hybrid format. Our first three speakers will present their findings virtually via Zoom platform, while the next three will present their findings in person here with us today. As previously mentioned, the esteemed Dr. Andreas Darmayadi will chair this session. Before we begin, please let me introduce Dr. Darmayadi and briefly read his impressive CV. Dr. Andreas Darmayadi, an experienced academic and professional, is a senior lecturer in the Department of International Relations of Universitas Komputer Indonesia. He holds a PhD in International Studies from the Universiti Utara Malaysia, an MA in Political Studies from Universitas Indonesia, and a BA in International Relations from Universitas Pasundan. His roles at Unicom have been diverse and impactful, including serving as the Director of Students Affairs, Head of PKM, and an editorial board member for the Journal of Global and Political Studies. His professional services extend beyond academia, with roles such as research and development coordinator in Wacana Politik, and various positions in Bapomi, West Java, and the Indonesian International Relations Associations. Dr. Darmayadi's extensive publication record spans topics from ASEAN community responses to economic diplomacy. His work as a visiting lecturer further underscores his commitment to education and knowledge dissemination. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please welcome Dr. Andreas Darmayadi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sampurasun. Respectable rectors, vice rectors, deans, distinguished keynote speakers, all participants, and of course, my dear colleagues and friends. My name is Andreas Darmayadi, and I will be your moderators for next 3 hours. And once again, with my pleasure, welcome you all to the 7th International Conference on Business, Economics, Social Sciences, and Humanities, icobest 2024. Yeah, today we already have 6 outstanding keynote speakers who will share their expert opinion about our theme conference, which is the theme is Sustainable Transformation Based on Environmental, Social, and Governance, or ESG, in Digitalized Era. And like Pak Tantan said before as a master ceremony, these plenary sessions will be divided into 2 sessions because we have a hybrid. The 3 keynote speakers will deliver the presentation online, and of course, the rest of 3 give the presentations offline. We have already 6 keynote speakers. We have Dr. Nikolay Megits from Webster University, United States. We have Professor Ting Su Hie from Universiti Malaysia, Sarawak, Malaysia. Dr. Ciorstan Smark from University of Wollongong, Australia. And Dr. Nazar Mustapha from Dillard University, United States. Dr. DũngAnh Tran from Hien University, Vietnam, and last but not least, my friends and my colleague, Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni from Universitas Komputer, Indonesia. Yeah, it's very bright Sunday. It's very bright Thursday, so we hope all the participants will enjoy this conference. And before we begin these plenary sessions, let me briefly about the rules for the sessions. Yeah. For each keynote speakers, we'll have time 20 minutes to deliver the presentations. After all the presentation, all the keynote speakers deliver the presentation, we have a 15 minutes to Q&A sessions. Yeah. So I just remind all the participants, if you have any questions, any idea, or any curiosity, yeah, just ask the keynote speakers. Yeah. Okay, I think without further ado, we started and we invited to the first speaker today. And our first speakers, online speakers, is Dr. Nikolay Megits. Hello, Prof. Megits, how are you?
Doing good. Good evening or good morning in your lovely Indonesia.
Morning. Yeah. What time is in USA?
And now we have 9:20
Wow.
p.m. evening hours.
Yeah. So it's good afternoon, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for being in our conference. It's been regularly. Prof. Megits maybe it's your fourth time become our keynote speakers in this conference. So thank you very much for supporting this conference. Before we going to Prof. Megits' presentations, allow me to read a brief CV from Prof. Megits. Professor Dr. Nikolay Megits is an expert in global economics, FDI in emerging markets and entrepreneurship, with a distinguished record of academic achievement in lecturing and scholarly research. He possesses over 25 years of international business experience, including strategic planning, sales, and import-export practice. Professor Megits received his MBA from Augsburg University in Minneapolis and earned a doctorate in economics from the Universiti Libera Ukrainensis in Munich, Germany. He is associated with the Office of International Trade of Minnesota State Government, where he managed the state's economics, cooperations with the countries of Eurasia. As an educator, Dr. Megits, as an adjunct professor, taught numerous international business courses at various universities around the globe. Currently, he teaches at Webster University School of Business and Technology in St. Louis, USA, and is visiting professor at the University of Johannesburg, South Africa. In 2021, Dr. Megits completed the Fulbright program at the University of Zagreb, Croatia. Dr. Megits founded, owned, and operated several successful startup enterprises during his business career. He established the Institute of Eastern Europe and Central Asia and launched the Journal of Eastern European and Central Asian Research. Dr. Megits is an academic of the Ukrainian Academy of Economic Sciences and a member of the U.S. Academy of International Business. What amazing CV. Okay, without further ado, participants, please give your full attention to Dr. Megits. Dr. Megits, time is yours.
Thank you very much. And I pray that everything will go as we planned. Can you see now my full screen, please? Okay, unfortunately, I do not see myself, and I hope that everything is fine at this time. Hey, good morning again. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to the president of University, Dean, and all the organizer of this event. I already feel myself, and I'm as a part of Komputer Indonesia University, because like being fourth time on this conferences and for my long cooperation with your team. The reason that I decided to present on a topic of innovating together, shaping the future of the US-Indonesia economic cooperation is the fact that I work for a government and I understand that this topic is important not only for academicians, but for practitioners as well. Okay, I got a note that it's showing this, showing something not right. Okay, display. Is it better now? Okay, Professor Lakiardi, can you tell us the first one or second one is better? Yes, this is right. Okay, thank you. Okay, we move forward. Go to next. I go to next slide. See, fostering economics, cooperation between US and Indonesia. As I mentioned, it's because of my education, because of my practice on the state level. I see that this is a lot of opportunities to develop and strengthen their relationship between US and Indonesia. And this can be done mainly through innovation in the business and innovation in education. But because the topics of our conference today is environment, society, and governments, I decided to look how those three pillars work together and how they taking care businesses, and in our case, Komputer, Universitas Komputer Indonesia. I use this picture of caring hands of university as it's happening through the cooperation, through the lens of academic partnership, different universities. Today's example, as we can see, we have representatives from all over the globe, I should say, America, South Vietnam, Australia, and I'm here not alone. I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Professor Mustapha. You will hear from him a little bit later today. And how it's happening is this relationship between US and Indonesia is developing for some time. It started since Indonesia proclaimed its independence, and then the US came with a post-war economic assistance program. That program shaped the future of our relationship. Then second one was a big agreement signed on generalized system of preferences in 1976 that reinforced export of to the US from Indonesia. It helped actually Indonesian economy to export products and goods to United States duty-free. Next one was a 1998 milestone that we call it bilateral investment treaty, and through that treaty, United States work on helping U.S. companies to invest, to massively invest in economy of Indonesia. As you know, each government, each country is happy to have investor, welcome investor, and America stepped in through this treaty. And in a bad situation, a worse situation, you probably know this about tsunami relief and reconstruction 2004-2005. America came massively to assist in redeveloping economy because of the damage that happens. And the last one is comprehensive partnership agreement. This agreement that works until today because it's a wide agreement where we have a lot of treaties on trade, education, security, energy, and various other cooperations, including healthcare, etc. And this if you look on the map that I present, the map of your region, Indo-Pacific region, and Indonesia is in the center of this, you can see the interest of so many countries around this, around your beautiful country of Indonesia that have their eye turned on your region. You have USA, China, Russia, each of those superpowers, we call them globally superpowers, they want to be dominant. And definitely for this reason, Indonesia is kind of in a very delicate position how to sustain this pressures that often coming from those superpowers. But when we talk about specifically economic relationship, I look on some statistic and some numbers that will help us to better understand where we stand today and where we will go from here. On export, on the trade, we see the Indonesia is good for your country, exporting to United States goods much more than America exporting to Indonesia. See, you selling to America $34.5 billion. America only sent to you 9.5 million, 3.5 times more. However, on the services, this is where you have a room for improvement. America on the service export is quite a bit ahead, 2.3 versus $8.9 billion. On the other hand, we look why it's coming. What is the reason for this? The reason for this is factors like population. In population, we are almost similar, but on GDP and economics factors, America is a little stronger economically, especially GDP per capita. And this number, when we show GDP per capita, shows the economic power of American citizens and strength of American economy. And this is a factor that shows that Indonesia especially services, have a good opportunity to be sold or traded on the territory of the United States. Moving forward, what is happening? Just recently, as you all remember, Indonesia 2022 G20 took place in your beautiful country. And at that time, United States and Indonesia signed a specific agreement called Semiconductor Corporation. This is where we're talking about innovation technology. Semiconductor Cooperation Agreement elevated cooperation between our two countries to the level we call it comprehensive strategic partnership. Comprehensive strategic partnership opening a door even much wider for both, for US and Indonesia, for our cooperation. Unfortunately, G20 was marked by a Russian invasion in Ukraine, and instead of focus on Indonesian economy, focus of world leaders was more on a Russian invasion in Ukraine and the position of president of Indonesia, who said, my heart is goes to both Russia and Ukraine and Russia are friends of Indonesia. Yeah, we appreciate all of this, but unfortunately, as you probably know, today Ukraine is definitely going through the bad war and sacrificing quite a bit. What I just put my quote here because in one of my papers that I recently wrote says, together, US and Indonesia have jointly developed a strong economic partnership that benefit both nations. This is most important when we see that through cooperation, benefits goes toward both countries. And this cooperation has three pillars. How I see this. First pillar is opportunity for innovation, especially today, because our conference is on innovation, and my presentation about the role of innovation in strengthening relations between two countries. Then second one is strategic advancement and cultural and education. This is education where university play a key role today. What is important in this one? This slide shows that digitalization, as Dean mentioned in her opening remarks, that digitalization is a future. We all depend on digitalization. Our conference is partially today happening because of digitalization and globalization. This digitalization affects trade between countries. And a university like yours, with a focus on IT, on computerization, plays a crucial role. When founders of your university planted the first seed many years ago, they at that time had a vision for technology, vision for IT. They knew many years ago that time come and your school, your university will be on the forefront of digital processes that happening. And focus area for this collaboration regarding innovation is environment, again, as we said, society and governments. Each of those three are touched by this, those processes. Strategic advancement, where we go moving forward, because we shouldn't be focusing too much on the past or focusing too much even on the present, but look forward. Where this is a strategy for each university, for each society, even for countries. How do we develop a relationship between United States and Indonesia at this time? And creating joint venture, creating a project, creating cooperations, and exploring the trade relationship between the countries, especially US and Indonesia. That means a lot for strategic advancement. And again, country is strong at this time when they sell added product with added value, not the not the commodities. It's a good that you sell a lot of commodities, but would be much better if country sells the product with added value. In our case, product with that is based on information technologies. How digitalization affects the cultural and educational exchanges. This is a between United States and Indonesia. We have this signed agreements for cooperation. I look on a number of students, how many students, statistical data, how many Indonesian students studying in US and versus US in Indonesia. An interesting number I found that in the 2023 statistic was that 8,500 students from Indonesia were studying in the USA. It's a big number, 8,500 students. Unfortunately, only 150 American students are in Indonesia. And as you have today, Professor Mustapha from United States, from Dillard University, I'm sure he is ready to discuss with the leadership how to bring some students from your university to beautiful, to his beautiful university. And another thing from United States is a Fulbright program. I'm encouraging professors and students, because the Fulbright program, it's pays for professorship, for researcher, and for students as well, to bring them to United States and place them on 100% covered government stipends studying here. This is a thing that you probably exploring already, but maybe this looks like more opportunity exists in this field. But we call it the role of public diplomacy. Through the public diplomacy, we build, we develop and reinforce cooperation between countries. And this is not happening in a vacuum. These things should be changing and should be changing constantly. This requires policy reforms. And civilized countries like Indonesia, in our case, United States, they are open to policy reforms. And focus on reforms is not only in a trade, but also in education, in the culture, etc. And collaboration, let's continue collaborate on in the sector of information technology. Let's continue collaborate in education and work on the strategies that help reinforce these cooperations. My role is today here to encourage students, encourage professors. Let's work on, let's explore various opportunities, various channels of opportunities to develop this American-Indonesian cooperations. For recommendation, number one, in my view, would be how to overcome barriers. Today, we can talk about these barriers, especially because of the war, because of the sanctions on Russia. Many countries are not following those sanctions against Russia, and this is one barrier that limits cooperation. How to overcome this? Who are you looking better for partners? For countries that is in a war, or countries that preaching for peace? This is this would be the one thing. Another, academic cooperations where academicians focus serving policymakers and business leaders. I just watched on your presentation, and again, I see this as a best of the best, in my opinion. It's never, I've been on many conferences. I'm just going to one week from today, not week, 3 days from today, I will be in Balkan countries on the conference in Dubrovnik. And I see how they prepared, comparing to your preparation of this conference. I give you huge credit, people. This is like 10 to 1, whatever I would even see here in the United States. It's great. I've been on one conference called AID. One would be in Seoul in this year, but last year it was in Warsaw. You are 10 to 1. You're beating. Kudos to you. Great job. And it's my honor to be with you and to be a presenter and work with you. As I said, my heart is with the students, my heart with your team, and I really want to work with you on reinforcing our cooperation. And I strongly believe that this can be done through digitalization, through information, using information channels. And this, all what we work today on is lead to stability and prosperity of both societies, of both countries. I know my time is running very fast. I just have looked at my watch, a few more minutes, 3 minutes left. And as a professor, practitioner professor, we call it in the United States, I want to finish with a small quiz. Unfortunately, I don't see this as a system. We have to work on this. But I just prepared a few slides I want you just briefly think on this, what I just talked and what you studying in the school, and answer for yourself. Which is the following is not a focus area for future U.S.-Indonesia economic cooperation as we discussed? Which one is not a focus? It should be only one in this list. Because all others should play a big role. This is a limitation. We don't talk about limitation. We talk about improvement. It means this is not a focus. All others, yes, renewable energy, digital transformation, human capital enhancement. This is what we work on developing. Again, next question. What's the primary focus area? Primary focus U.S.-Indonesia economic cooperation, where we are pushing our forces and our knowledge and talent. As we discussed today, I'm sure you look on those four bullets, and you probably came with the right answer, is a technology advancement. Technology is the future. Just imagine where you've been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I just can remember 1990, where I first time in the United States saw email that came and to my university. And one of my colleagues says, hey, this is the future of post office. This is how our mail will look from now. And as I predicted, say, from today, post office will die soon. Okay, yeah, we're going to this direction, and it's changing quite a bit. And the last one is, which sector is highlighted as a key opportunity for joint ventures? Renewable energy, colleagues. Yes, this is a key opportunity for joint ventures. Look for, you are all in the best of the best, I strongly believe best of the best Indonesian Technical University Engineering School, and world is short for you. Cultural exchange, we want to elevate deeper understanding and alignment of technology, entrepreneurial initiatives. Takes the lead of the world. And those symbols of two countries, they really showing us where we should move. And sky is limit for both of us, for Indonesia and for United States. God bless you. Thank you very much for presentation. And this is end of my brief speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. Megits, for your very insightful presentations. I make some note from your presentations that joint ventures is renewable energy and digital infrastructures is very potential and for increased bilateral trade framework to support sustainable economic growth. And a role of educational and cultural exchange is fostering a deeper understanding between Indonesia and USA. But we'll continue discussing your presentations after we're going to Q&A sessions. Now we're moving to the second speakers. The second speaker is Professor Dr. Ting Su Hie from Universiti Malaysia, Sarawak, Malaysia. How are you, Prof. Ting Su?
Very well, thank you. Let me share the slide now.
Thank you. Yeah, before Prof. Ting Su Hie
okay. Stop share, okay.
Deliver the presentations, allow me to read CV from the Okay, I'm sorry that I'm not accepted the CV from Professor Ting. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give your full attention to the Professor Dr. Ting Su Hie presentations. Please give applause to Prof. Ting Su Hie. Prof. Ting, time is yours.
Thank you. All right, today I will share with you values because I believe that when we talk about transmitting values, it actually bridges the social sciences and humanities and business. So I'm looking at value transmission as a business strategy in Chinese family businesses in Sarawak, Malaysia. So we know at this moment that family businesses in various parts of the world often cannot survive past the third generation. The grandfather may set it up, but the grandchildren do not do so well with the family business. And based on the literature, besides those very tangible business strategies, values are seen as the secret to the continuity of the family business, because the values that is passed on from the founder to the children are actually capturing all the wisdom that they accumulated about doing their business, about the context and everything around it. So in Malaysia, Chinese family business is a very big thing because Chinese seems to be good in business and are making a lot of money and helping the economy. So we want to see what is being transmitted in terms of the values. The Chinese in Malaysia come from China, and they also go to various parts of the world because they suffered during those early days. So we have a question now. After they have migrated and settled in the host countries, different host countries for so many years, do they still retain the Chinese cultural values? And we also know at this moment, with good communication technology, globalization, everyone is in so much contact with one another. Are we moving towards the same kind of values? Well, based on the literature, that was until 2009, the Chinese family businesses still retain a lot of the values they brought from China. Well, we will see in my study whether that is the case. So my talk will address the values that are held by family businesses owned by Chinese diaspora in Sarawak, Malaysia. Now, you can see here in the middle, I have put the values that are common in family businesses. They are common to Chinese business and non-Chinese businesses. You can see values like trust, hard work, familialism, thrift, honesty, humility, family, orientation, teamwork, mutual respect, harmony, loyalty, and quality service. Now, what about Chinese businesses? They do have certain values that are unique, and this includes relationship building, perseverance, patience, humanism, sacrifice, and downplaying of personal interests. What about non-Chinese family businesses? It seems to be opposite. You see, open communication, commitment, justice, social responsibility, accountability, entrepreneurship, generosity. So there are certain differences among the Chinese family businesses and non-Chinese family businesses in terms of the values. My theoretical framework, when I talk about Chinese cultural values, I refer to three main sources: the work by Fan 2000, the Chinese Cultural Connection, basically Bond's work, and also the Confucian philosophy. So my study is based on 12 Chinese family business firms. They are very large. You can find them in a lot of reports at the national level. And the businesses are very diverse. They supply engineering products. They go into shipping, timber. There are also supermarket chains, newspaper company, property development, and even fitness centers. Altogether, I talked to 19 participants, 6 founders, because they are still alive, and 13 sons. In the Malaysian context, it's still very patriarchal. The business is handed down to the sons rather than the daughters. So the interview questions are very simple. Did you or your father emphasize certain values to the family and the employees? And how did you do it? This was part of a bigger study. So the interview questions for the values was only this. You may think that 12 companies isn't so much, but it was really difficult to gain access because there were so many gatekeepers of all sorts. The interviews were 50 to 90 minutes, follow-up interview 45 to 60 minutes, and I analyzed for the values. So from the results, I found that values are not as tangible as business strategies. And the participants actually have difficulty pinpointing the values initially. They will look at me quiet because they didn't know how to respond. And this is expected in a way because the values are so much part of their lives. When they were growing up, the father passed it to them. It is as natural as blinking or breathing, not something that people analyze and think about. Only one participant could talk about values immediately because he actually engaged a consultant from Singapore to come and formalize the values that were passed on by his father to him, and he wanted it to make it very much a company value. So he could answer my question immediately. The rest took time to think. Which values are top? Number one, trustworthiness. In the olden days, there were no contract signing. It was the gentleman's word. I will sell you something and deliver it by when and when at this price. And you just have to take their word for it, and they will do it. Second, diligence. They all work very hard. One of them actually paddled the boat up and down the river to sell his things. And one day he saw that there were a lot of trees that were fallen. He decided to go to the island and burn them until they become charcoal. It was mosquito infested, but he made money from the charcoal. Prioritizing personal interest over family obligation. This is a value that is held by the younger generation because they want to pursue their own interests. They are not so interested in carrying on the business in the way their father or grandfather wanted. So they have other ways I will share with you later. So the three top values, I have grouped them under different categories of values because I referred to that theoretical framework. Altogether, I found 26 values and they were mentioned 63 times. So then I know which of the values are common, which are moderately common, and which are a bit rare. And they fall into 6 categories here. And I have put in bigger words those very common values, which are personal traits, interpersonal relations, and also work attitude. I'm going to tell you what those are in a moment. Here you go. Personal traits. About a quarter of the 63 instances of values were personal traits. Virtue, integrity, that sense of shame. I must do things properly, otherwise I will bring shame onto my family. So they try to avoid this. Wisdom, family obligation, or self-interest. Gratitude. Interpersonal relations, also about a quarter. Trustworthiness, kindness, propriety, harmony, humbleness. Work attitude. They work hard, they are committed to the business, they save money, they persevere when they have difficulties. And then they are able to adapt to new situations. We have a new value there, be disciplined, and this is what the younger generation says. Business philosophy, only about 14%. In the olden days, the founders who are still alive still believe in non-competition. They may do something because of relationship, not because of the profit. And they resist corruption. But the younger founders generation says, we don't want to be conservative. We have to be different from our father and grandfather. National traits, knowledge and equality. Family orientation, only a few mention it. The kinship, because family relationships are full of squabbles when they are making money in the business or if they have to take losses. So there are issues. Now, how Chinese are the values? Our primary question. Actually, the common values are not as Chinese as they are assumed to be. You see, I gave you 3 values just now. Trust, worthiness, diligence, and the other one is prioritizing personal interest over family. The top 2, they are also common in non-Chinese family businesses in America, Scotland, Turkey, Africa, and Spain. Only the third one, well, is new in my study and is the young people's value. I will not say it is a Chinese value. Next, I have marked here the 2 colors. So you can see those which are considered the older values of the founder and the new values of the younger people. So in black will be the founder. You have virtue, you have non-competition, not guided by profit, value relationship, value equality, and kinship. And you see that the young people have work attitudes that are very different, marked in green here. Commitment, still saving money is important. Prudence, adaptability, because the situation changes so much, they cannot stick to one way of doing things. And being disciplined, because right now, the younger people are talking about work-life balance. They may not spend their whole life working for the family business. So they talk about being disciplined. I'm moving towards the conclusion of my study. There are 3 new values, which are being disciplined, not being conservative in business, and prioritizing personal interest over family obligation. To me, as I look at the whole scenario of family businesses, this priority to self-interest really will spell the doom of the continuity of the family business. Many are interested in their own career. They are not so interested in continuing the family business. So what the founders try to do is, okay, you can do what you want, but you must set up the company as a subsidiary under my company. Okay, and then some of the more open-minded founders say, okay, I allow you to manage your business, this small part of it in the way that you like. So because they really want to keep them in the family, otherwise they got nobody to hand it over to. And in the past, we say family life is really part of the family business. But now the successors may not think that I am obligated to my family. Interestingly, when I talked to the founders, they did not emphasize that family orientation or kinship or their family spirit. So this could really become a thing of the past. They just could not force the children to carry on the business. So I found that daughters are taking up key roles in the family business, mostly in managing the accounts or the finance, but still not the one in charge. The patriarchal society is still there. So the ideal situation is that the children of these family business founders actually find self-fulfillment in growing the family business. Then there will be that balance in the needs of the family, the company, and the individual family members. And this is important for the continuity of the Chinese family business. What I have presented is published in this paper, and you can read more details here. So thank you very much for listening to my sharing on the importance of values in the society, especially in the context of business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ting Su Hie. Very interesting presentations. Then I make some notes that the 2 most common values are trustworthiness and diligence. And then as the business changed, hence from grandfather to father and subsequently to grandchildren, 3 new values emerged, namely being disciplined, and then being daring in business, and prioritizing personal interests over family obligations. So participants or audience, we will continue discussions with Prof. Ting Su when we join to Q&A sessions. Thank you very much once again. And we're going to the third keynote speaker for today, online speakers. It's Dr. Ciorstan Smark. Hello, Dr. Ciorstan Smark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, before Dr. Ciorstan Smark deliver the presentations, allow me to read the CV of Dr. Ciorstan Smark. Dr. Ciorstan Smark is a managing editor of the Australasian Accounting, Business and Financial Journal, AABFG, and a senior lecturer in accounting and finance at University of Wollongong, with over 20 years research and teaching experience at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels. She has worked at universities in Australia and the USA. Her publications cover a wide range of accounting, finance, and business ethics issues. Academic and professional positions: Fellow of Financial Service Institute of Australasia 2020 till present, Fellow Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand from 1991 to present, and she was successfully supervised 12 PhD students to completion and has numerous well-ranked publications in academic journals. It's amazing CV. Ladies and gentlemen, please give warm welcome to Dr. Ciorstan Smark. Dr. Ciorstan Smark, time is yours.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting me to give this paper today. I'm always very happy to give presentations in Indonesia, and one of the main reasons that I'm so happy to give presentations in Indonesia is that a lot of the readership of my journal, AABFJ, comes from Indonesia and India. In fact, this has changed a lot over the past the 18 years that I've been running this journal. In the beginning, our readership was very much from Australia and New Zealand. And while Australia and New Zealand are still the majority readership for this journal, we now have approximately 1/3 of our readership coming from Indonesia and Malaysia, and also very strongly growing readership from India. So thank you very much for the invitation. If you're wondering about the name, by the way, Ciorstan Smark, my great-grandparents came to Australia from Ireland, and that is the reason for the name. All right, today I'm going to speak to you about, perhaps as potential authors who might be writing academic journal articles in the future, I'd like to talk to you briefly about the benefits of referring to and perhaps including in your keywords or your titles or your abstracts the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And today I'll be going briefly through why you might want to include the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, in your academic program, and how they can help you to find readership, and also perhaps can direct your attention towards certain choices when it comes to what you might wish to research. All right, so here are the Sustainable Development Goals. I don't expect you to be able to read them. They're very small. The particular ones that you'll be looking at that I'll be talking to you about today are number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Also number 17, but we'll be talking about that less. The reason that I'm focusing on these 3 SDGs is that they are the ones which are most easily linked to an accounting and finance journal, and I run an accounting and finance journal. Okay, so a little bit of background about the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them. Within each of the Sustainable Development Goals, there are targets, There are 169 targets within the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And at the moment, there are 232 indicators which show within the targets, which show within the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So you can see it's sort of like a set of roots or a branch that would lead off into the Sustainable Development Goals. All right. I looked last week at some of the things that have been flagged by the United Nations as risks coming up in the next 2 years. Particularly going by this, it seems that we're very concerned about societal polarisation within our societies. We're very concerned about an economic downturn. And there's also quite a few concerns about whether or not our Earth is going to heat up and whether or not we are leaving ourselves open to a world that will be able to support us, support our children, and support our grandchildren in a way that's equivalent to how the world has been welcoming and sustaining to us. So what are we leaving our children? What sort of world are we leaving our grandchildren? Okay, now I looked a little bit and no, again, I do not expect you to be able to read this. This is the Southeast Asian clip of the Asia and Pacific Sustainable Development Goals Progress Report for 2024. So this is just for Southeast Asia. So what we're looking at here is that there's been progress in a lot of areas. The blue ones are showing progress. The grey ones are the things that are very difficult to measure. Now, when you think about your workplace, when you think about your society, you'll probably be aware that we tend to reward those things that we can measure, that we can quantify reasonably easily. So unfortunately, the Sustainable Development Goals that are more difficult to measure or can be measured more qualitatively than quantitatively tend to not receive the same level of attention. So you'll notice the one that we're really struggling with in Southeast Asia is climate action, and that's a cause of concern to many of us. Now, I mentioned that I was particularly going to refer to SDG 8 and SDG 9 today. Now, the sections that I'm looking at here are from Asia and the Pacific. They're not the global SDGs because I figured both Australia and Indonesia are in Asia and the Pacific, so that's what I would talk about today. So you can see that we've got some red areas which are of considerable concern. We've got some yellow areas where we're doing all right in Goal 8. In Goal 9, we seem to be doing reasonably well for 9A, which is resilient infrastructure. Now, just to go back to the previous slide for a moment, if what the experts are talking about are correct, that we need to be very concerned about social polarisation and also economic downturn, and also there are some climate issues, that was seen more as an issue in the 10 years rather than the 2 years that I focused on for this speech today. So resilient infrastructure, we seem to be okay, although 10-year challenges, if we see a lot of change in the climate, that will naturally challenge our infrastructure as COVID challenged the infrastructure for many of us over the past 5 years. Access to the ICT and the internet, as you will be aware, particularly as you are a university that very much focuses on computers, access to ICT and the internet has been going very well indeed. Some of these other areas, small-scale industries, access to finance, sustainable and inclusive, industrialisation, clean industries, research and development, a little bit more of a challenge for us in Asia and the Pacific. Okay, I'll just skip over this one today. These are some of the areas that you might like to look at if you are looking for an area to research, or how you should link your research to gain the most readership when it comes to submitting to journals, or when it comes to promoting your research. You might want to have a look at the Asia and the Pacific Sustainable Development Goal Progress Report. This is just on page 86, and this is the one for Southeast Asia. It's always interesting to look at these reports. I like to look at them every year to see where research might be perhaps best focused. Obviously, we all have our different types of research interests. All right, well, it's all very well to say that we should look at doing research that promotes the Sustainable Development Goals. And if you read a lot of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal literature, you will know that there are very good reasons, just as humans, perhaps as parents, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, grandparents, why we should be interested in trying to make sure that our societies and our world are treated as well as possible, and that we hand on to the next generation and the generation after that a world and a society that's in as good a condition as the world that we received from the generation before us. Okay, well, what I did was I went to my journal and I picked out a particular article to give you an example of how you can link some of your research. I took here some research from India, which has actually had remarkably good downloads in the thousands, and also some very good citations. That was an article called The Role of Mobile Payment Applications in Inclusive Financial Growth, and it's by two authors from India called Neelam and Sonali Bhattacharya. Now, what this article looked at was it looked at how people from poorer areas of India, from perhaps less advantaged financial backgrounds, were using mobile phones to access payment, to receive payment, and to be able to make payments for things that they needed for themselves, their families, the places that they work. So if I wanted to tie that in to the Sustainable Development Goals, what I would do is to say, well, we could link that to Sustainable Development Goal 8, promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Now, that sounds really abstract. Let me dig down a little bit into this particular Sustainable Development Goal 8 and make this a little bit more concrete for you. If you're an author, you've done this research and you're wondering, how do I tie that to the Sustainable Development Goals? Well, within this Sustainable Development Goal 8, there are a variety of targets. So if you wanted to tie your this particular research, you'd tie it not just to Sustainable Development Goal 8, but you'd also tie it to the target 8.10 within Sustainable Development Goal 8, which is to strengthen the capacity of domestic financial institutions to encourage and expand access to banking, insurance, and financial services for all. Because that's what having access to and the knowledge to use and the access to the internet, these mobile payment apps, is giving people even in the poorer areas that Neelam and Sonali Bhattacharya studied for the role of mobile payment apps. Now, sometimes you can take your research work still further, and here I've been able to tie this work to an indicator within a target, within a goal. I've tied this research to indicator 8.10.2, And this is a very concrete measure because often we reward and we encourage what we can measure. The proportion of adults 15 years and older, so that's the particular definition that the United Nations is going with an account at a bank or another financial institution, or with a mobile money service provider. See, this is an example of how you can take some research that's been done by these two academics and published in AABFJ, tie it to a sustainable development goal, to a target, and to an indicator. What you will find is that research that ties to the sustainable development goals tends to get better read and tends to get more citations if you can make it easier for people to find by tying it to these sustainable development goals. Now, that doesn't mean that research that's more difficult to measure isn't still very worthwhile. It often is. And I would encourage you, if you're looking at qualitative research that is perhaps more difficult to measure, and it's important work that's good for society, go for it. It shouldn't all be about measurement, but if you can tie it to a sustainable development goal, I would encourage you to do so, because it will mean that your article is likely to be more likely to be published, more likely to be read, and more likely to be cited by other researchers. Okay, so why link your research articles to the Sustainable Development Goals? A couple of reasons I'd like to talk about, and I'm mindful of the time here. So we have the Sustainable Development Goals, according to Smartsul 2019, represent one of the largest and most sustained influences on global research to date. Hang on, I'll just see if there's anything in the comments here. Okay, so a lot of governments have agreed to promote the Sustainable Development Goals. We have a lot of organisations such as Cambridge University Press. I know, for example, that my journal, AABFJ, is a signatory to the Sustainable Development Goal Public Publisher Compact. A lot of journals are. So naturally, we're interested in looking at whether or not the research that we publish contributes to achieving the Sustainable Development Goal. Also, as today is particularly about technology, given the nature of your university, AIs, artificial intelligence, things such as ChatGPT Scholar, will find references, keywords, mentions in the titles and the abstract of Sustainable Development Goals. So if other researchers are looking at similar SDGs, targets or indicators as you are, they are much more likely to find, to read and to cite your article if it clearly refers to the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so what can you do as someone who might be considering submitting an article or doing some research that might lead to an article to tie your work into the Sustainable Development Goals? Well, perhaps consider publishing in journals that you haven't considered before. For example, you might want to consider submitting to a journal that is a signatory to the Sustainable Development Goals Publishers Compact, because that's a pretty fast-growing list of publishers who are specifically committed to be interested in work that contributes to the Sustainable Development Goals. I've given you here some useful sites. For example, we'll just go and have a quick look at the dashboards. So in the dashboards, what you can find is you can find how particular countries are going when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals. You can find profiles for Indonesia, Australia, the United States, Malaysia, India, whatever it happens to be your area of research interest. Now, if you want to find the specific Sustainable Development Goals, well, there's only 17 of those, so that's pretty easy. But if you want to find, well, what are the targets and what are the indicators? So how is our progress towards this particular Sustainable Development Goal being measured? I would strongly suggest that you have a look, just search under the final list of proposed SDG indicators, and you can download an Excel list for all of the SDGs, the targets that go into the SDGs, and the indicators that are how they're going to measure progress towards the targets that make up the SDGs. And we've got it linked here in the particular measures. Now, I'm just a bit mindful of the time, so I'm going to finish up there. So I would like to thank, first of all, the organising committee. You've done an absolutely great job, very good organising. And I would also like to thank the people who have been here today, particularly the university at which this is held, and also the previous keynote speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ciorstan Smark. It's very interesting presentations that we have to make sure that our research make the impact for the publications and with SDGs. So it's very, very interesting discussions. We have already 3 keynote speakers given their presentations. Now we're moving to Q&A sessions. I'm sure that a lot of questions that will be addressed to you all. And I will open for the first 3 questions. Just mention your name, your institutions, and after that, address your question to whom. Okay? Please. If there are any question from audience? I think it's very insightful and interesting material presentations, and we have to learn about the presentation because the 3 keynote speakers give the enlightenment for us about the cooperation between Indonesia and USA. After that, we're talking about the Chinese cultures in Sarawak, Malaysia. And after that, we're talking about how they impact our journal with the SDGs.
See, Professor, as long as there is no question, I may have some question to Professor Ting from China, Malaysia. Sorry, I missed this. Is it okay?
Okay, please.
Please, go ahead.
Just to start conversation, as long as participants thinking what to ask. Number one, I admire your presentation about parents, children, relations into business, how business transforming from family to family and children. It's very interesting. I have a little bit on a side question. When I prepared my presentation, what I found that a huge number of Indonesian students are studying in China. I compare United States, how many in the United States versus China. It's like 2 to 1, twice more studying in China from Indonesia than in the United States. How would you explain this? Strong interest for Indonesian students.
That's interesting. you are saying that there's a lot of Indonesian students studying in the US, and there are less students from China studying in the US.
No. More from China, from Indonesia studying in China, and less in the United States.
Recording stopped.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll take this discussion out of this forum. I will contact you directly and discuss this. I'm looking for your expertise on this from your business experience. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go to
No. Just now the connection was lost. Well, I think China has a program to send their students to Malaysia and Asian countries. Like my university now has so many China students. There's one sitting in front of me. He just came back after many months. So yeah, it's a certain program in China.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a question from our audience, and this question is to all keynote speakers. This question is about, please explain how ESG is...
Recording in progress.
Yeah. Please explain how ESG is applied in this digital era for all the keynote speakers. Maybe for Dr. Megits first.
I did not understand the question. What is ESG or?
Yeah, how ESG is applied in this digital era.
Oh, okay. Let me start my presentation from start. Okay. as I mentioned, this three. Remember those three collaborative strategic pillars, okay? Opportunity for innovation, innovation and strategic advancement and cultural education. See, you have here everything: society, environment, and government. All those three parts or pillars are working together. For example, in the case if and we as a professors, as educators, have to be responsible citizens for whatever we do. Okay, responsible citizens to take care of our society. Look how we can educate students, or how practitioners can influence our environment. We all play a role in this, and especially today, with digitalization that is taking leading effect on everything in our life, okay? It reflects everything, reflects trade, transportation, logistics. It has a reflection on education. COVID especially was a good example of this. When universities all around the world moved from in-class, moved to online environment. Businesses moved to this. I work for a state government. We still are only working 1 day per week in an office and 4 days work from home. See, this is how digitalization, and we work still 4 days, those 4 days, but we work online and through computer. We communicate, we're using this tool for communication. It's mean digitalization and this innovation of the digitalization completely changed our life. They even changed the life of our students, how they're educating. Look at the revolution of AI, artificial intelligence. This is a dilemma. I don't want to go too deep into this, but we are struggling with this because students are cheating, professors are cheating, everybody's cheating. Is it good or bad? We have to look on how artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, reflecting our life. But for a good things, look at how this affects the health. Okay, our health. How today doctors operating using computers. How doctors are looking even in the chat AI to give us diagnosis before we leave or come to their office. They know more about us. They're getting them prepared. Okay, it's very interesting. It really affects, it just affects on all levels, society, environment, and definitely government as well. Because the government has to take a lead on this and not be followers, but be leaders on implementing the digitalization in our life. Yeah.
Okay,
I hope it's answered as much as we could.
Thank you very much, Prof. Megits. Dr. Ciorstan, will you add the answer from Prof. Megits?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one of the things that's been most interesting, and as Professor Megits pointed out, it was very much illustrated during COVID. As a journal editor and also as an educator, we do so much more digitally than we used to. When I first started the AABFJ journal, we had paper. That was it. We actually printed it on paper. You've all heard of paper, right? And also when I used to do the journal layouts, I mean, I had Word and spell check, but all the grammar, that was down to me. Whereas these days, something like Grammarly is an incredibly powerful tool, and Google Scholar and all these things that we have. I don't know how long my co-speakers had to move to digital classes after COVID hit, but here at University of Wollongong in Australia, we had a big cruise ship come into Sydney and it spread a lot of COVID, and 3 days later, University of Wollongong had moved all of its classes online. I personally was very grateful that I published with a number of my PhD students who live far away, and so I more or less knew how to use WebCT and Zoom, but it was a huge shift, particularly for those of us over 55. Now, what has this meant in terms of the SDGs? And, well, it has meant, for example, that we three can be here without using a lot of petrol to get there. It's also massively increased inclusivity when it comes to, hopefully, provided you're in range of the internet, you can have access to a lot of intellectual and educational material that perhaps even 20 years ago would have been blocked to you. And I think that's really important for those of us perhaps from a background that's not wealthy, or from a background which is a little bit more regional and not where we have access to really big libraries. So I think it's hugely important in that way. Also, those of us that have children that we care for, or elderly parents, or perhaps a disability, that means we are not as physically mobile as other people. It's both a good side and a bad side, as Professor Megits pointed out. Neither necessarily good nor bad, but always interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ciorstan. Prof. Ting, you will edit the answer from two others keynote speakers.
Thank you. I would like to focus on the SDG connecting to social sustainability, that social equity. I think nowadays we are in so much more contact with one another. So if we can embrace cultural differences, we can develop that cross-cultural communication skills, that adaptability and the respect for others, because it often comes from this superior thinking that my group is the best and others are not as good as me. But if we have that spirit to embrace cultural differences, there will be social sustainability. I purposely focus on this because this is kind of less talked about, but it's very connected to equity. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Ting. Yeah, we also absolutely agree that ESG it applies to whole aspects of our lives. Yeah, and the second question is also to all the keynote speakers from CEPI, from English Literary, Universitas Komputer Indonesia. The question is, in my environment, usually there are some students who look passive, yeah, because insecurity, even though they actually have a good potential and good skills. In this case, how do you motivate students who are closed because of insecurity? Okay, please. Okay, please, Dr. Ciorstan.
I guess most of us as well are a lot more aware of, how should I put this? Not all of us are extroverts, particularly in academia. A lot of us are introverts. We tend to be quiet people. A number of us perhaps are on the autism spectrum, and a lot of our students are on the autism spectrum, which is often both a strength as well as a weakness. I actually think that the digital world offers more opportunities for people who are quiet or perhaps are neurodivergent than a classroom where you must speak in front of others to be heard. Because we do have more opportunities perhaps to engage in a little bit of side chat by typing rather than by speaking. And also for those of us that are maybe a bit deaf or who are not speaking the language that the other people in the room are speaking, we now have much more of an opportunity to interact in our own quiet way or having translated what's going on than would have been the case 20 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ciorstan. Prof. Ting or Prof. Megits? Yeah.
I think Dr. Ciorstan brought up a very important point about the digital medium. When we have Zoom, the quiet students can talk. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, they talk by writing, so that's great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Ting. Prof. Megits?
See, I'm a little bit older probably than other people in the room. Just and I've been through a lot of shifts in my life, and I am learning quite often with all this new media platforms, and sometimes I do not even. I'm not on a Facebook, okay, but I'm on a LinkedIn, and but often what I see in my classes. Students that are so quiet in a class, and you will push them, just can you participate? Can you participate in discussion, answer questions? Because at the end of the day, you still want to have 100% in-class participation scores, but cannot open mouth in a class answering, probably knowing the answer, but is shy to answer. However, next day, I see that person is on a TikTok, that person putting so many things that she enjoys. And I'm thinking, probably she is in the class studying. Maybe she doesn't enjoy that subject that I'm teaching. And some people are very happy, very excited and successful on TikTok. This is my message is for young people. Do whatever you enjoy, but be responsible for you do, and be aware of consequences, okay? Whatever you put today about yourself in a digital world, in internet, will stay for generations there. Probably your children or grandchildren will be reading about you 100 years from today, okay? Maybe you will be happy to see yourself 100 years from today, but maybe your grandchildren will be ashamed of that act, okay? Thank you. Be responsible. Be respectful to society.
Thank you, Prof. Megits. Yeah, it's a general problem in the world because, yeah, due to the impact negative of the internet. Yeah. Okay. Is there any questions? Still any question for the floor for the audience who present in the auditorium? Okay. Please mention your institution and name and address to whom.
Thank you. Let's introduce myself. My name is Muslim Al-Kausar from Garut University. Muslim Al-Kausar. Thank you for all speakers. I want to question for second speaker, Prof. Ting Su. Hello, Prof. Ting Su. Okay, I'm interested about Chinese value, but a little curious about grouping of the value. how you calculate the percentage of Chinese family will you come from? I think I see your presentation. There's about Chinese grouping, Chinese family, is attitude, is so there are percentage 25.
Okay.
6,
I
and
know,
the other.
I know your question. Okay.
I want to how to grouping there. Okay, thank you.
I'll tell you. Altogether, there were 26 values. Some of them were only mentioned one time. Some of them were mentioned 5 or 6 times. So then they all added up to 63 times. So when I say 25%, it's 25% out of 63. So that means it's quite commonly mentioned by different families. That's how I calculate the percentage. And then the specific value they mentioned, some of them may use the word hardworking. Some of them may say that diligent. So I will put all of them together because they are the same meaning. And then I will pack it under different categories. I use 8 categories. And that one is using terms from the cultural connection. I look at the 3 together and I make my own categorization.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Still any questions? Yeah. There is a question from Dr. Dewi for all the keynote speakers. Are there specific activities that can be done so that digital diplomacy can support education in achieving the sustainability development goals in the information technology era? Please, Dr. Ciorstan.
I think that one digital aspect that can be really helpful is inclusion. I think this is probably something that a lot of us noticed during COVID. I work at a regional university, and let's say my daughter is a very heavy user of very specialist care. She has a brain tumor that requires a lot of chemotherapy and other treatments. If it was not for digital technology, I would not be able to have done my job in the same way during COVID, and my daughter would not have been able to receive treatment nearly so good if not for the digital aspects of how both medical treatment and education can get done. One other thing is University of Wollongong, where I work, we provide a lot of campuses. I should explain, Wollongong is about an hour south of Sydney, one of the biggest cities in Australia, but we also have campuses 5 hours south of Sydney, campuses 10 hours south of Sydney. We have a lot of very regional areas, and I think that digitisation is very helpful for the sustainable development goals that promote inclusion, just because distance can otherwise be very excluding for various people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ciorstan. Prof. Megits, would you edit the answers from Dr. Ciorstan about these questions?
Yes, I want to just to bring you as an example, university where I teach, and we have a robust online program. Okay, this is definitely COVID helped, and university jumped on this opportunity and start offering more and more online classes. that gave us opportunity to very quickly reach out to India market, educational market. It's mean before the COVID, we did not have at our Webster University any single student from India, okay, from Delhi. 2 years later, we got 2,000 students from India. Majority of them online, but some, those who could travel and get a visa, travel to the United States, are now at our campus in St. Louis, Missouri. It's mean this how digitalization provided opportunity for education for students. Okay, it's open door to American university in my case, I should say, and I would encourage students to look on these opportunities. Maybe start taking 1 or 2 classes in a different university. Can be, I don't know, can be US University, can be London School of Economics. Try advance to Harvard or London School of Economics or Melbourne University. Just digitalization gives you this opportunity. Many courses, many universities giving courses for free, but that will give you completing those courses online, will elevate you comparing to those who did not take those courses. Okay? Simple advice, but practical.
Thank you, Prof. Megits. What about you, Prof. Ting? You have any opinion about this?
I would like to share what my university hopes to do. It seems that people can study from home and people want to work. They don't necessarily want to study full-time. So it seems that the way forward is to package the courses as small modules so that when they take these modules that are online, eventually they combine them into a degree. So my university is hoping to do that in order to capture the overseas market. But right now, it is still a hope. We are hoping the Polytechnic and the other lecturers from Kalimantan will come over to us because we are nearer to them. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Ting. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, and all participants and audience, due to limited time, so unfortunately we have to end it in these sessions, in these Q&A sessions. So highly appreciate to all keynote speakers. Please give big applause to all keynote speakers. I'm not have intention to make the summary and conclusion for all the material that you give presentation for today, but I'm sure that this give the all benefits to the audience and participants here. Thank you once again, Dr. Ciorstan, Professor Megits, and Professor Ting Su. Thank you very much. And this is the end of the first sessions, online sessions. So after this sessions, we will continue to the offline sessions. But before we continue to the offline sessions, I written first this mic to the Patatan and Neng Nisa.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you, Dr. Andreas, for chairing the first session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now enjoy the beauty of one the Sundanese traditional dance, the Merak of Peacock Dance, which will be performed by Saung Budaya Unikom. Please give them a big round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a performance. We jointly hope you enjoy the performance and refresh our minds for the next plenary session. So without any further ado, again, I will call upon Dr. Andreas Darmayadi to chair this session again. Okay. The floor is yours, Dr. Andreas.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Tantan, Neng Nisa. Yeah, hope you enjoy the performance, Merak Peacock Dance, yeah, from Bandung, Sunda. Okay, now we're going to the offline sessions that will be delivered by 3 keynote speakers who already joined with us in these auditoriums. And without further ado, I invite our 3 keynote speakers to come with me, to join with me in here, in stage. Please welcome Dr. Nazar Mustapha, Dr. DũngAnh Tran, dan Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni. Please begin, applause. Okay, please again give big applause to all keynote speakers already in the stage. And for the first keynote speakers, we'll start the presentations. Will be Dr. Nazar Mustapha. How are you, Dr. Nazar Mustapha? Excellent. It's not your first time in Bandung, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, but before Dr. Nazar deliver the presentations, allow me to read the brief curriculum vitae. Okay, Dr. Nazar Mustapha is an associate professor of financial economics, the Ibn Hardy Junior Finance Endowed Professors, and the coordinators of the departments of accounting and financial economics. He has a doctorate degree in financial economics from the University of New Orleans and a master's degree in statistics from the same university. He also has graduate degrees from leading European universities. He is one of the directors of Institute of Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and associate editor at the Journal of Eastern European and Central Asian Research. Dr. Mustapha's research interests are in the fields of banking and financial institutions, international finance, and microfinance. He attended numerous finance and business conferences and has several papers published in peer-reviewed journals. One of his research papers received the Distinguished Paper Award at the 46th annual meeting of the Federations of Business Discipline held in Houston, Texas. Wow. Dr. Mustapha was quoted by Forbes magazine and appeared as economic expert in the evening news on Fox 8 News. Dr. Mustapha was the recipient of multiple Teaching Excellence Award, including the university-wide Exemplary Teaching Award. Last spring, he received the College of Business Favorite Professor Award. Dr. Mustapha is fluent in English, French, Russian, and Arabic, and have a good knowledge of Spanish and several other European languages. What amazing CV, Dr. Nazar.
Thank you.
Okay, please give your full attention to Dr. Nazar. Dr. Nazar, stage is yours. Please direct to slide presentation of Dr. Nazar.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be with you today at this prestigious conference and this magnificent university and this great country of Indonesia. Let me greet you in the beautiful Indonesian language. Selamat pagi. Sampurasun. Today, I want to share with you my experience teaching at my university and other leading universities in the United States. I want to talk about various teaching methodologies and their impact on student learning outcome, on students' motivation and success. Today, we live in an era of a smartphone and TikTok. So we want to check with you how that will impact students' attention span. Could you go back? Let's look at the statistics. According to NAB 2024, the average human attention span decreased by nearly 25% between 2000 and 2015. On average, we pick up our phone more than 1,500 times a week, or on average, every 5 minutes we pick up the phone. We are bombarded with notifications, text messages, emails. We're always expecting something. We're a little bit more edgy, less relaxed, less focused. So keep that in mind when we choose the teaching methodology. Let me start first with the classical teaching methodology. In the classical teaching methodology, the teacher takes a stand and lectures. The student is mostly passive listener. This approach may work for some subject, but it has some disadvantages. So let's look at some of these disadvantages. Machisella 2018, limited student engagement. The student is not well engaged. The student is not actively participating. Another disadvantage, insufficient practical application of knowledge and skills. In this approach, the teacher does the work. The teacher teaches, the teacher solves problems on the board. The student is not applying knowledge. Last, according to Matic 2013, lack of individual adaptation of student ability. One of the disadvantages of this methodology is that it cannot identify students who need help. They may be identified that down the road when they give out the midterm exam, but it'll be too late to intervene. Let's look at critical thinking. Let's look at the definition of critical thinking and see the disadvantage of this approach. Critical thinking is the process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information. The thing with this approach, the classical approach, if the teacher will take a stand and keep going on and on and on, one-way flow of information, concept after concept after concept, solving on the board, problem after problem. Students soon will be lost. They will not be able to critically thinking, analyzing, evaluating. Soon, when they are lost, they're frustrated. And most of the time after that, the lecture is not effective. So I'm suggesting another approach called students engagement approach. So let's see what this approach about and see the advantage of this approach. In this approach, we create an interactive teaching environment. We engage the students and promote their active participation. We encourage critical and creative thinking. So I'm going to show you now, how do I conduct my class at my university? By the way, literature supports this approach. How do I conduct my class? I start the class by explaining a concept. Then I ask questions to the students to engage them in a discussion. After that, I apply the concept by solving problems on the board. And following that, I give the students problem to solve. While the students are solving problem, I pass by them to give them feedback, to get feedback, to encourage them. When I pass by them and say, wow, you're doing great, very good, excellent. Oh, there's a small mistake here. Let me help you. Let me explain it to you. In this approach, the entire class is engaged. The entire class is problem solving. The entire class is critically thinking. And when they need help, I'm there to help them. We use effectively every minute of the class. The students end up learning the material while inside the class. Students like this approach. I have students who hated statistics. 2 months into the semester, they are tutoring statistics. In my evaluation, students write, well, the teacher cares about us learning, cares about, he wants every student to understand the material. Another aspect of my teaching, I allow students to work together on solving the problem. That's good to have collaboration, discussion. It's a win-win. One of the great advantages of this approach, unlike the classical traditional approach, is that I can identify the students who need help from day one and start providing the help needed. I want to give you an example of what happened this spring semester. I have a student, non-traditional student. She finished high school many years ago. She worked, but she decided, I want to learn and get a college degree. Now, from day one, when I started passing by the students, I discovered that she has a great, huge gap. And I don't blame her. She took math long ago. And I was afraid. The students feared this class. My class was calculus for economics. And the students feared the class. She took math long ago. So I understand that. She postponed this class all the way till the last semester. When I checked, I got to know that there's a huge gap. I got to know she may not be able to graduate. She will not be able to pass the class. So I need to intervene. And from the start of the semester, I started intervening. When I give feedback to the students, I stop by her, give her more feedback. After the class, I stay 5 minutes, 10 minutes, explaining to her what she's missing. I continuously invited her to office hours, especially before exams and quizzes. In return, she worked hard and did the assignment at the excellent level. And guess what the outcome of all this? Not only she got an A in my class, just last Saturday, she walked on the stage and got her degree. Next, I want to talk about the use of office hours. I believe that office hours are powerful tools that are underutilized. Let's look at the research. Research show, quote, attending office hours can have a major positive impact on academic performance. So how to effectively use office hours? If we just put the office hours in the syllabus, that's totally not enough. We have to continuously invite students to office hours, especially before exams and quizzes. Give an option to our students. For example, have face-to-face office hours, online office hours. In my class, I tell my students, look, you can come in groups, you can come individually. Give the students options. Most importantly, when they come to us to office hours, we have to greet them. When they come to my office hours, say, hello, welcome, please sit down, how's going? When the students know that we are happy seeing them when they come to us, then when they need help, they indeed come to us. Office hours, a powerful tool. I remember the names of all my students. Dale Carnegie says that our name is the sweetest sound to us. So why not to use that in class? In my class, I call my students when I address them by name. Hey, Sydney, Jamal, Tony. Students like that. They feel they belong. They feel welcome. At my university, we have students from around the world. And I love languages. As you saw, I speak many languages. I know English, French, Arabic, Russian, Spanish, and some other European languages. And by the way, I started learning Indonesian and Sundanese, and I love that. So when I meet my students first time, I always talk to them in their language. They love that. They feel welcome. So they know, oh, the teacher knows my language, knows my culture. So if they need help, they know they can come to the teacher for help. Very important, learning by providing relevant examples. Learning by providing relevant examples. Research shows that for learning to be effective, it has to be relevant. Let me give you an example of that. When I teach compounded interest rate, there's a formula that we use. I could have just give them an example, put numbers in the formula, and get the result. But we can make the class more relevant. So I tell my students, do you know the power of compounding interest rate? Do you know that after graduation, if you invest intensively, if you save intensively and you invest, in your 50s, you can be a millionaire? And everyone, what? I say, okay, let's use the example. So I said, okay, after graduation, you may not have too many obligations. Save extensively for 5-6 years, $100,000. Let's say you want to invest in the U.S. stock market. In the U.S. stock market, the rate of return is about 10%. So I tell my students, okay, this is the formula. Put the 100,000 and the amount, put the rate of return at 10%, and put the number of years 25. They put the numbers, and voila, it's $1 million. So this is doable. So in this case, guys, the students see it not some dull formula where they put the numbers and they get some result. No, the students say it's about me, about building wealth, about financial security. Learning by providing a relevant example. Let me give you another example. In my banking financial institution class, when I teach the relationship between interest rate and inflation, I bring to the class the Wall Street Journal. And I read, say, look, the Fed, or the Central Bank of America, is saying that, well, they're going to postpone interest rate cutting till the late 2024. And I ask my students, what does that have to do with sticky inflation? Now the entire class is discussing this. Oh, at the end of the class, students say, wow, I'm learning how to interpret financial news. I'm learning how to interpret the action of the central bank and other market participants. This is what we talk about learning by providing relevant example. Another thing that we can do is experiential learning. What is experiential learning? It's when we apply the knowledge that we have into real world situation. And I love that at this university, the leaders are doing so importantly things. They're building a TV, a radio, where the students can apply their knowledge directly on TV. That's a great thing. That's very great innovation that this university is doing. That's what we call experiential learning. Let me provide you an example of how I do experiential learning at my university. You may know Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is one of the largest financial institutions in the world. So I work with Wells Fargo and I organized a business case competition. This is a competition during which team of students perform the role of Wells Fargo financial analyst to underwrite a deal. So it was a real company that requested a loan from Wells Fargo. A multinational requested a multi-million-dollar loan from Wells Fargo. Here the students have to study the company, analyze its finances, its expansion overseas, and to make a presentation and decide what the option to do, provide the loan or not to provide the loan. 30 students participated. We have judges from Wells Fargo, judges were Wells Fargo executive from New York City, Washington, D.C., New Orleans. In this 2 days event, we have not only the business case competition, we had also a resume building by top executive. We have interviews, students train on how to conduct interview. We have employment opportunities. One of my students got a job after graduation at Wells Fargo because of this event. This is what we call, guys, experiential learning. Retention. In the US, big problem. Retention is a big problem. Let's look at the data, guys, here. According to the data from US National Center of Education Statistics, the retention rate in the US currently 64%. Retention rate 64%. Then what? Then about 36%, they are dropping out of college. That's bad for the student because the students now cannot get a college job. That's bad for the community and bad for the society at large because it's not efficiently using its resources. By employing this approach, students' engagement approach, we can mitigate these numbers. By engaging our students, promoting their active participation, by providing care and support, by identifying students who need help and providing the help needed, by showing them they belong, that they are welcome. We can retain them. Moreover, they will be more motivated, happier, and more satisfied, and more importantly, they will succeed and excel. Let me conclude with a letter written by one of my students who took a class with me in statistics, enjoyed the class, and decided to share her thoughts and perception with the dean. She wrote a letter to the dean. When I read this letter to you, please look at the element of my teaching, how the students are perceiving these elements, how these elements are impacting the students' learning. Here I'm reading. By way of this letter, I would like to commend Dr. Mustapha for extraordinary efforts on putting his students first. Dr. Mustapha has devoted his personal time, aside from the classroom setting, to tutor students, to upcoming quizzes, tests, or you just need assistance in the subject. Dr. Mustapha possesses a unique teaching style that's transferable to his student. The students wrote further, I'm a non-traditional student who has been away from the collegiate scene for 7 years. I was deadly afraid of returning to school because I detested biology and statistics. Dr. Mustapha has made the transition pleasant and achievable for me to be successful in statistics. I'd like you to personally know that I'm grateful and appreciative for being involved in one of Dr. Mustapha's classes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nazar Mustapha. What very interesting presentations. I make some note from your presentations is It's important to create an interactive teaching environment, engage the students and promote their active participations. It's an open and non-threatening setting, stimulates student interest and encourage a critical and creative thinking and respectful exchange of ideas. Okay, we will discuss later about your presentations, and we're moving to the second keynote speakers. Second keynote speakers is Dr. DũngAnh Tran from Hien University, Vietnam. And before you deliver the presentations, allow me to read your CV, Dr. Tran. Dr. DũngAnh Tran is a permanent vice president of Hien University, M.Si, one of the biggest private universities in Vietnam. A man of remarkable influence, he strived tirelessly to create the sense of community in higher education. Being educational administrator, Dr. Dang has done the missions by making education more affordable and accessible. During the time as a higher educational management, his focus was to raise educational standards in institutes across the country, granted the government merit for the excellent contributions from the Ho Chi Minh City President and Binh Thuan Province President. As a higher education keynote speaker, Dr. Dang is passionate about speaking at conference about the importance of electronic word of mouth, EWOM, yes? In the students' community, in specific case, the accommodation renting activities in Hien student community. So, all audience, please give big applause to Dr. Tran. Dr. Tran, stage is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Willie, Jen, and Jean. I'm very happy to be here for the first time. Really, the second time in Indonesia, the first time in 20 years ago, and now, and the second time. But nearly the first time feel very impressive. The very impressions on your country, your people, especially our colleague here in our university. And I would like to present the research of my team for our university student community. It's named the influence of electronic words of mouth, EWOM, on the intention of accommodation renting activity in Hien student communities. And first, I would like to introduce a little about the university system in Vietnam, and something about my university and why we do the research on this case. And the second that I present the result, the research results, and moreover, I would like to present the managerial implications in higher education communication between the school and the university and the student. How to be more effective. Yeah. In Vietnam, from 2030 to 2021, the university increasingly from 214 to 242. Also that the public university also more than the private university. In fact that the private, in order to open the private more difficult in Vietnam, we have to obey so many regulations in order to establish, to run the private university in Vietnam. And I would like to introduce the Vietnamese student, Vietnamese university with a training scale. And you see that from 213 to 221, the new student, the freshmen increasingly, but also that the purple lines, the student from the public university also increase, and very specialized, very special that the green line in 2030 is only 177 new students, but in 2031 it's up to 416 students, new students for the private university. It's very important, very dramatic trend. And together with the freshmen increasingly, but the graduation decrease. That's the real situation in Vietnam University. I would like to introduce my university, Hien University. From 2020, the year of 2020, we only have around 3,600 students. But in the recent year, we increasingly rapidly. Now, and in this year, we recruit more than 500 students in our school. This is the developing university, but our responsibility is very big. How to maintain, how to keep the student. But the student increasingly rapidly, and we have trained to the managerial mechanism in order that to enhance the quality, in order to make the student more and more activity and happier than with the other university. That's our mission. So crowded student here, that the mission, how to maintain, how to keep the student, how to make the student not bye-bye school, but to prevent dropping out the school. That's why we make a lot of research on the new student, the Gen Z behavior, in order to have the solution, the suitable solution for the current student Gen Z. Besides on the curriculum, the problem, we pay attention to have the knowledge, to provide the good knowledge, the skill and the attitude for the student. But how to make the student in connect with the higher education institute, how to make the collaboration between the student and the university. We pay attention to communication. That's why we have so many research on the student behavior nowadays. And from the past, for example, in 20 years ago, I come to here, and now I come to it. Now it changed a lot. It developed so much, so that I cannot catch up with, for example, the new building. For example, some the developed facility, and so many development in your country. But I myself a teacher, I myself a managerial role, have a managerial role in the university, but how to understand the student from Gen Z. From Gen Z, they are school people different than the university student. They are in the countryside, in the province. The behavior different from the behavior from the city student. Yeah, that's why the communication, to make the communication between the student and the university is very, very important. Thus, communication in higher education can pose so much challenge, so many challenges. The communication is important so that when an urgent situation, a critical situation develops, the large number of people can be informed in a timely manner. It's very, very important that we deliver so many research, and this is the typical research on student behavior. I would like to introduce the research results of the research, the influence of electronic words of mouth on the intention to rent boarding accommodation of Văn Hiến University. We aim to, first, to find out the effect of electronic words of mouth affecting the intention to rent accommodation in our university. And more important that we draw from the research result, we draw the suitable administrative implication of effective communication in higher education institutions. And we talk more about the electronic word of mouth. According to Hien 2004, any positive or negative statement made by potential, current, and former customer on the products, a brand, and the company via internet. According to DOR 2009, electronic words of mouth communication has high scalability and spreading speed. According to Wollongong and Bayen 2004, e-worm communication can be more easier measured than word of mouth through presentation format, quality, and consistencies. And according to Mazzarones, Sweeney, and Scottas 2007, e-worm message can be viewed and can be read by anyone, anytime, anywhere, if it access to the internet. Based on the previous research on the electronic words of mouth, and we built the model to study the factor of electronic words of mouth impact the intention to rent an accommodation in the university. According to the model, there are 5 factors, 5 variables. First, information quality. The second, the information confidence. The third, the needs of information. And the third one, the attitude toward information. And the last one, information utility of electronic word of mouth. Is it affected to the accommodation rent intention of the student? We delivered the questionnaire to 500 students and received the feedback. And after doing the reliability statistics global alpha, we see that all the scale is over 0.6, it's proved that the scale meets the requirement and can be used for the further analysis. And the author, we conducted the analysis, and these 2 times of exploratory factor analysis, EFA, with the following result. PMO index is 0.7, is more than 0.5, and the 6th level, 0.0, is mean that the attractive factor meet the requirement. And in the model summary, the adjusted R-square values is 0.5, so that the 5 independent variables include in the regression analysis, such as information utilities, information quality, information confidence, needs of electronic words of mouth information, attitude toward electronic words of mouth information, affect 51.6% of the variation of dependent variable at accommodation rank intention of the student. And the remain is variable outside and the random errors. On the ANOVA test table, the results of ANOVA analysis show that the statistic value, F values, is 59.7.8. It calculated from that R-square value regression model. That's no linear relationship between the dependent variable and sets of dependent variables is set realistic. That is, the linear regression model is suitable. And after regression coefficient result, so that on factor, the factor information utility of E1, the factors of information quality of E1, information confidence, the needs of E1 information, and attitude toward E1 information, they have positive impacts on the accommodation rank intention of student. You will see that the number is NO, the needs of electronic worm of mouth, electronic E-worm, the needs of electronic words of mouth, very, very important. It had the great impact, right, to the rank intention of the student. And the hypothesis, all the hypotheses are accepted. They are the same impact, the positive impact to the very range of intention of the student. And the second objective, we can draw the managerial implication to the student, to the teacher, to the manager, to the university, that reflect that the truth of even efficient communication on the Gen Z, the current student generation. And we can draw the 3 groups of solutions that to increase the effective of communication, electronic e-worm, electronic words of mouth. The first one, to establish and enhance the credibility of electronic words of mouth information. The second, to generate demand and encourage the sharing of information. The third one, to enhance the quality of electronic words of mouth information, two groups of solutions. The first group that we suggest that according to our experience, according to the results, the research result, we suggest is build the trust with the student involved in establishing and manage the creativity of earworm information. We should to build a website based on the social media page dedicated to information and review about higher education institute, policies, activity, student matter, in order that the student can know more, can understand of what happened and what regulation, what information to them. Creating conducted environment for the student to review and comment on the student master. And very, very important that to have the key opinion leader, KOL very important. The KOL with the criteria rich, resonant, and relevant. They are very, very important. Relevant, for example, the famous singer, that KOL, very, very good KOL, but the famous singer, but for me, I'm older than the Gen Z. And the KOL not suitable for the KOL, but the famous singer for them, for Gen Z, for example, that's the KOL we can choose. The second group solution to generate demand and encourage sharing electronic word of mouth information to create demand for information, build professional website, landing page, more attractive, for more beautiful picture, beautiful imaging, content, useful information, tip and guidance, and creating opportunity for sharing electronic word of mouth information and more promotion program to encourage the students sharing positive information. According to our experience, that promotion program not only we give the student money, but also you can give the student more classes, more programs that the student can join, and they willing to be share, to be talk more about some information, some knowledge, some regulation of our university. Encourage the student by creating comment, evaluation, feedback, picture and video also. And utilize social media channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and KOL. And in Vietnam, we have Zalo. Zalo is very popular in Vietnam. And I don't know, in Indonesia, you have social media, social app. Yeah. And the last group of solutions to enhance the quality of earworm information, that you have to provide reliable information, encourage quality review and feedback, and guiding students in share quality information, and establish mechanism for controlling feedback from the student, very, very important, and build and maintaining the credibility. Unrelated to word of mouth, electronic word of mouth, we need so many information to understand, to get much more understand of the Gen Z in order to have the suitable policy. And that's why we recruit more students, because of the fact that we understand the Gen Z. For each year, we know the tendencies, we know the trends of the Gen Z. And that's why nowadays we recruit more students than the other. And so many problems, so many issues, we can do more research on the information transmission, on the positive or negative electronic word of mouth. Very, very important. If we create environment, if we encourage the student to comment, right, to do the electronic word of mouth, and if the negative, it may lead so many difficulties, right? And I think that something that if we do not control, good control, it may be a negative storm for our institution. And also, the research on the student behavior, research on online buying decision of student, and consumer learning from Gen Z, and digitalized work from higher education institution, online products, and so many keyword, many problems, many issues that we, the student, the teacher, the research can do in the future to get more understanding of the Gen Z student nowadays. Yeah, that's my presentation for the conference, and thank you for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. DũngAnh. It's very interesting. Yeah, I make some note for the presentations that talking about compressing 5 factors: information utility of EWAM, information's confidence of EWAM, information's confidence of EWAM, need of EWAM informations, attitude toward EWAM informations, that impacting accommodation rent intention of students. Yeah. And elucidated the relationship between these five factors and the intention student boarding accommodation, and also gain some managerial implication to enhance the effectiveness of the students and higher education's communications. Okay, we're moving to the last keynote speaker for today. Yeah, and the last keynote speaker for today is Ibu Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni. Yeah, but before Bu Dewi deliver the presentations, allow me to read the curriculum vitae Bu Dewi. Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni, Head of Department of International Relations at Komputer at Universitas Komputer Indonesia since 2018. Started her career as a lecturer since 2005. She obtained her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree in the same field of international relations. As a professional lecturer and has a certified international qualitative researcher, CICAR, Dr. Dewi Triwahyuni actively conducts research and writes scientific papers with a focus on international relations, U.S. foreign policy, and cybersecurity. Currently, she is also active as a board member of the Indonesian International Relations Associations, IHI, and a reviewer at the Global Political Studies Journal, GPSJ, Indonesia Komputer University, Intermestic Journal of Pajajaran University, and Journal of International Relations, JHI, Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta. Please big applause to Bu Dewi. Bu Dewi, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andreas, to introducing me very well. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respectable Rector of Universitas Komputer Indonesia and respectable Vice Rectors, Deans, representative from our co-host, Hien University, Global Institute, Universitas Garut, and also respectable to Head of Committee of this prestigious of icobest 2024, and also respectable for all the keynote speakers and all the audience. So because since I become the last presenter, I believe I should start my presentation right away. So the title of my thoughts that I want to share with you this morning is Digital Transformations on Diplomacy to Accelerate the Sustainable and Inclusive Future. Okay, so let me move to here. Yeah, should we have a break for Azan? Moderator? Continue? Okay, thank you. So the background of my research is from my interest to the phenomenon of the Industrial Revolutions 4.0, which is we already hear, and sometimes we call it a digitalizations era. And this Industrial Revolution 4.0 is 10 times impact of the Internet revolutions, and blurring the physical and cyber digital divide and impact on society bigger than the industry. And also the Industrial Revolutions 4.0 altered the social, economy, political, and security aspect, and changing the way that individuals relate to one another and to the world at large. The situations develop a new terminology of diplomacy, which is in my study, called as a digital diplomacy. And this is the questions of my research is how digital diplomacy can accelerate the goals of the SDGs. So yeah, let's start from the phenomenon that the world has gone digital. How digital our world today. But first, let me explain some terminology of digital transformation. So digital transformation is the process of adoptions and implementations of digital technology by an organizations in order to create a new or modify existing products, services, and operations by the means of translating business processes into a digital format. And also, digitalization has brought about new opportunities to access and share knowledge and use of more sophisticated tools for decision-making, including influencing opinions. And digital technologies are defining as new areas for economic competitions and regulatory divergence, propelling issues such as the privacy, data protections, and the regulations of artificial intelligence directly on diplomatic agenda. So here's a data from KPO's analysis that make a global overview about the number of individuals using the internet. A total of 5.44 billion people around the world were using the internet, including we in this room. And it's equivalent to 67.1% of the world's total population. So 10 years, the graphic rising up from 2014, only 2 billion, approximately 2 billion, and in 2024 become 5 billion people or number of individuals that using the internet. That's a very big impact. And this is the overview of internet use. So from the 5 billion people that using the internet, the percentage of the total male populations use the internet is surprisingly bigger than female populations. Yeah, and how many hours we spend, average daily time spent using the internet by each internet user is 6 hours and 35 minutes a day. And mostly we access the internet from our mobile phones. It's like 90% of us using the mobile phones to access the internet. And this is the overview of social media use. So average daily time spent using social media is like 2 hours and 20 minutes a day. And again, male using social media, 53% bigger than female use the social media. So how the internet impact the diplomacy? Diplomacy is the art of practice of negotiations by someone who usually represents an organization or country to deal with international issues. So diplomacy is a political process primarily intended to nurture foreign policy and influence the decisions of other countries. So this is the terminology of the traditional diplomacy. Now we have a digital diplomacy as the use of the internet and the new information communication technologies to help carry out diplomatic objectives, including its related goals. Digital diplomacy is seen as an important tool in furthering a nation's foreign policy as it enables direct interactions and engagement with foreign publics. So there's terminological confusions on digital diplomacy. Some scholars a little bit difficult to make a difference between digital diplomacy, cyber diplomacy, technology diplomacy, online diplomacy, or electronic diplomacy. So what is actually the definitions of digital diplomacy? We can see at three parts. The first is the use of digital technology and social media. So digital diplomacy involves the use of digital technologies and social media to achieve foreign policy goals and engage with a wider audience. And the second is expansions of traditional practices. So digital diplomacy expands upon traditional practices by incorporating tools such as internet, social media, and other digital platforms to engage with the public and facilitate international cooperations. And also characteristics of digital diplomacy. The digital diplomacy is characterized by its ability to foster two-way communications and engage a wider audience in diplomatic discourse. So the internet made diplomacy more efficient and cost-effective, but also pushed diplomacy to be more open and transparent while created pressure for response to be more real-time. And digital diplomacy has effectively reduced the exclusive control which states hold on policy and created a platform for people to express their opinions directly and in the real time. Digital diplomacy brings some advantages for us, like limited needs for human resource. We can engage to publics only like 2 or 3%. Yeah, so limited need for human resources, and mass availability and accessibility, and then also improve efficiency and service delivery, minimum cost per engagement to traditional diplomacy, and then also reduce secrecy and amplified voices of policy makers or citizens, and also major tools for nation building. This is some of the advantages of digital diplomacy era. And the internet impact on diplomacy in 5 layers. The first one is we see the new dimensions to traditional diplomacy issue. For so long, the diplomacy always handled the security or economy issue, but nowadays, so many issues like freedom of expression, human rights, internet protocol rights, international telecommunication policies, climate change, human rights to access internet, and etc. These kind of new issues that diplomacy have to handle. And the changing environment of world politics. Because the internet have an impact to diplomacy, we have a new player or new actors in diplomacy. So diplomacy not longer as a state dominate, but also a new actor like non-governmental organizations, political activists, civil society, or even terrorist network. They all have become a new player to play the diplomacy in digital era. And it is, we can see at the graphic that this is the top 10 most followed international organization on social media. And we have World Economic Forum, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and then Greenpeace and Human Rights Watch as a non-governmental actor now that most followed in international, in the social media. Yes. Can you help me? Yeah, this one. So the third is e-government and instant government services for students. So in this era of digitalization, the country is making adjustment to services digitally, such as an online counselor for students in abroad and other smart applications. And the fourth is the new tools to practice diplomatic, like instant messaging, search engines, video conferencing, and also social media. Speaking of social media, how Ministry of Foreign Affairs use social media for a diplomatic problem. Because of social media can shaping opinion effectively, mobilize people, also influence changing. So many of Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the world actively using the social media. This is from Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Indonesia, which also uses social media to spread about the information. And also U.S. Department of State of America is also one of the most active social media user. Even China and North Korea also use internet to their diplomacy. China, with the very restricted to social media, they have their own social media like Weibo, WeChat. They also use that for diplomacy. And even North Korea is also use a website to diplomacy. And they even give some option languages to choose for Mr. Dr. Nazar to read about. Okay, now this is U.S. Virtual Embassy of Iran. So in 2011, U.S. opened a virtual U.S. embassy in Tehran because U.S. and Iran do not have diplomatic relations. By using this technology like this website and linked social networking sites, they can bridge the gap that promote greater understanding between the peoples of Iran and United States. So they want to reach the people, not the government, because they don't have the diplomatic relations. This is diplomacy. I believe everyone know how active the previous president Donald Trump used the Twitter to share his opinions, his thought about anything. This is the one of example how Trump see the global warming is credited by and for the Chinese. And then Zelensky also have heavy conversations with Elon Musk, and they were in the Twitter, or now we call it X, very often. So this is show that how diplomacy not longer dominated to state, but also individuals. This is the world leaders on social media. We can see who is most followed leaders in Twitter. It's the Prime Minister of India. But in LinkedIn is Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. Do we have our president here? No? Oh yeah. And also Facebook, led by Prime Minister of India. And most followed world leaders in Instagram is, again, Prime Minister of India. Our President, Bapak Jokowi, is the second one, the top 10 of most followed world leader in Instagram. So, back to the topic, how digital diplomacy accelerate SDGs goals. Digital diplomacy offers many opportunities to advance the SDGs by raising awareness, mobilizing resources, building partnerships, and influencing policies. For example, digital diplomacy can help showcase the best practices and innovation on different countries and regions in addressing the SDGs and inspire others to follow suit. It can also facilitate dialogue and exchange among diverse stakeholders and foster mutual understanding and trust. And digital diplomacy also can leverage the power of social media, data, and analytics to amplify the messages and impact of the SDGs and to monitor and evaluate the progress and challenges. Platforms like social media can be used also to disseminate information about sustainable development goals, raising awareness and mobilizing support. And digital diplomacy also allows for instant communication and outreach on a global scale, enabling government and organizations to connect with a diverse audience. These are some examples how digital diplomacy can support the SDGs in different domains and sectors. In the field of environment, for example, digital diplomacy can help address the climate change and biodiversity crisis by raising awareness and actions, supporting the implementations of the Paris Agreement and the Convention of Biological Diversity, and engaging the youth and the civil society. In the field of health, for example, digital diplomacy can help promote the universal health coverage and the COVID-19 response and recovery by sharing information and best practices, mobilizing resources and solidarity, and advocating for equitable access to vaccines and treatments for the COVID era yesterday. And the last example, in education's field, digital diplomacy can help advance the quality and inclusiveness of education and lifelong learning by facilitating online learning and collaborations, enhancing digital literacy and skills, and supporting the educations of refugees and displaced people. So, digital diplomacy is not a static or one-size-fits-all concept, but a dynamic and evolving practice that adapts to the changing needs and opportunities of the SDGs and the digital world. Therefore, this is essential to keep learning and innovating and to embrace the diversity and creativity of digital diplomacy approaches and methods. It is also crucial to foster collaborations and coordinations among the different actors and sectors involved in digital diplomacy, and to build a strong and supportive network and community. By doing that, digital diplomacy can become a powerful and positive force for the achievement of the SDGs and the transformations of our world. So I believe that will be the end of my presentation. Terima kasih. Thank you. Hatur nuhun. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Thank you, Dr. Dewi, for the presentation, nice presentations. Yeah, I make some notes that the emphasis of digitalization is especially pertinent given the recent crises that have brought attentions to the need to preserve and further enhance equitable growth while strengthening resilience. Digital technology have the potential to improve policy decisions and foster a deeper relationship between individuals and governments by bridging gaps and mitigating the negative effects of age, disability, and other variables. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all participants and audience, now we move into Q&A sessions. We don't have much time for the Q&A, but I open for the. Okay, two questions first. Okay, oh, ini banyak justru ya. Okay, first question is from Professor Leah. Please mention your institutions and address to whom. Okay, okay, Prof. Leah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Andre, the moderator. My question is for Dr. Mustapha, Dr. Nazar. Yes. How your presentation is very impressive. If I'm not mistaken, you explain how to motivate students, yeah, but in the learning environment, but in the face-to-face situation. Okay. So my question is, what is your suggestion or your experience, yeah, regarding our last 2 years ago about COVID situation? We have online class. So what is your suggestion or experience to maintain the students' attention, yeah, to keep up in the class, in the online class or digital class? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I appreciate the question. Now, we had this question arise after the pandemic. When we moved, we used to be face-to-face at my university, and then we have to move expediently to online. Now, we have the classes first synchronic classes. Means it's online, but the students and the professors meet at the same time. So I mandated my students to open the camera. As if you're to be my class, you have to be on camera. Why? Because I need to scan how the students are attentive. And you know, students try to slack, but I tell them, look, I'm gonna ask questions. I wanna call your name, okay? And I always relax my students. It's not about giving right or wrong, but about keep thinking, so I tell my students, if you don't answer, I'm deducting points. So in this case, they had to be on camera and they have to answer the questions. Now, when we totally online, right, to answer questions, when I create my videos for online teaching, let's say I'm teaching some topic, and I will say, okay, I'm applying the concept by solving problem. And then I would say, okay, now you gotta solve this problem. Stop the video and solve this problem. So you see, this way, they have to, I mean, you try your best that they go and solve the problem. So you see, this you try to, as much as possible, to make it close to the face-to-face. But from my experience, and I've been teaching for a number of years in different universities, nothing can come close to face-to-face. In my face-to-face class, I can scan the entire audience. I can, you know, you build, like if someone is distracted, I don't have to tell them. I can just show, you know, and oh no, okay, you know? So face-to-face is the most, because we are human. Social interaction is very important. We can use that to our advantage, but we need now the online world. We need to expand right? Like the professor said about expanding outreach, right? So we try to, as much as possible, to get the online experience close to the face-to-face experience. Thank you for your question. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to add? Okay, please, Dr. Tong.
Yes. In case the student in, for example, of developing country, teacher, I don't have a camera on the computer. What happened? Face to face, open the camera, and according to my experience, that okay, you do not have camera, it's okay. And why delivering the teaching? I asked according to you, I had question, and also I have short test. And after short test, you can submit immediately. And that we can follow, we can know how the student attend the class. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Dang. Okay, we move to the second. Okay. Yeah. The lady in this. Yes. Mention your name and mention institutions and address to whom your questions.
Hello, my name is Din from Garut University. Hello, Dr. Nazar. My question is addressed to Dr. Nazar. I wanted to let you know that I found your presentation to be incredibly interesting and attractive. And your delivery about student center kept me engaged throughout. Thank you. My question is, how can educators assess and measure the development of critical and creative thinking skills within a student-centered pedagogical framework? Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me try to repeat the question. So how can
teachers measure or assess the development of critical and creative thinking skills within student-centered pedagogical framework?
Right. You see in my teaching methodology, I appreciate your question. Unlike the traditional teaching approach, when the teacher just lecture, right? One-way flow of information, the teacher will not have the ability to assess, like you're asking. The teacher is doing the job. The students is passive listener. In my approach, after I explain the concept, I engage students in discussion. Already, from this discussion, I know critical thinking. Then, when I ask them to solve problems, then I pass by them. When they saw the concept, they saw the application of the concept, now they are involved in critical thinking. By passing by them, I assess how well, okay, they are analyzing, okay, the information, how well they evaluating the information, how well they applying critical thinking. And here, I get to know where they are. You know, the classroom is not homogeneous, right? So for students who need help, right, then I invite for office hours. I stay after class to explain to enhance their knowledge, to increase their critical thinking. See, this is my way of analyzing where the students are in analyzing, evaluating information. I pass by them. I get immediate feedback on the concept so I can go back, explain furthermore. This I do. This is what I do. And I appreciate your question.
Thank you for the answer. I hope we can discuss further about the technical manner later on. Thank you.
Awesome. My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nazar. And as one last question, yeah? We'll do the time, I'm so sorry. Okay. Prof. Herman, okay. Please, Prof. Herman.
Thank you, Dr. Andreas. I have two questions. First for Dr. Mustapha. At your presentation, you just explained about the success rate in USA, around 64%. Yes, retention rate. It means that 36% fail. What is the main reason for the student there the main reason they are fail in USA?
What is that?
The main reason. The success rate for the student in the university in USA is around 64%. Is that right? It means that 36% drop off. What is the main reason for them for the drop off?
Yes.
Professor, this is a very interesting question. You know, when you say 64% is all colleges, including community colleges, okay? And there are research on that. They say why students are not retained. Because there's implication for the students, for the society at large, right? And one of the reasons is academic unpreparedness, okay? They come to college, they're not at the level needed. Some of the problem are personal issue. Some problem family issue. Financial issues are big. As you know, in the United States, average tuition costs like $35,000. So it's hard to come out with this money. So, okay, let's say students started the year not passing some classes, and they have to come out with the money again for next year. So, okay, let me drop out of school. So some of them, like from the research I've read, a lot of this, students feel they don't belong. Don't belong means, okay, they have troubles, no one to address them. They have issues they can't share with anyone. With my methodology, when I'm engaging the students, okay, and when we practice this all around the university, all the professors engage the students, promote their participation. When you tell that professor, make clear to the students whatever they need help, they can come to them. They can go to the administration. When we make that, the students, when they face problem, they come to us to help. They come to the staff that we have to help. And this way, I believe we can increase the retention rate and decrease the drop-in rate. But this is a great question, and this is discussed heavily in the literature. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Mustapha.
Thank you, Dr. Nazar.
Second question is for Dr. Tran. I'm impressed with the jump of the number of students in your university. At 2000, around 3,000 only enrollment. But in 2024, is that right? Around 11,000. Is that because of EWOM or any other strategy? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. There's so many reasons. First is the educational quality. And we pay attention to the training psychology of learning by doing. And train the student can go into the industry while being at school. The second thing, that we keep the traditional education, humanity before the talent, before being to be humanity before to be talent. We try to educate the student how to be the good man first and the good profession. That two key points in order that we increase the press time and electronic words of mouth in order that to get the information transmission for the student. For example, for the event, we announce to the student resist, but he or she doesn't come to the event. That's it. the event lack of the pupil, lack of the student, and what we can do own the effort for the student, and the student cannot earn from our contribution. And for each event, for each resolution, for each activity, we also create the e-worm, electronic worm of mouth. That in order to have the commitment, but no, you have to go. If you do not go, I give you the bad mark. No. I encourage you because you feel that it's benefit to you. And the student feel that they earn the benefit when join the event we create for the student. And I think that is electronic worm of mouth is one of the kinds of media we can use. Yet not own. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tran.
Thank you, Dr. Tran. Yeah, I'm sure that our discussion is very interesting, but due to the limited time, I'm sorry that we have to end these sessions and Q&A sessions. So I would like to apologize to all participants that we cannot accommodate and answer all the questions. And once again, highly appreciate to all keynote speakers who delivered great presentation for today. Please give big applause for all keynote speakers for today. Thank you, Dr. Nazar. Thank you, Dr. Dang, Dr. Dewi. Thank you very much. And yeah, just to remind, after this plenary sessions, we still have parallel sessions that we will start it at 13. Yeah. So once again, give big applause to all keynote speakers. I'm Andestra Mayadi. I'll give to return this stage to the Patantan and Neng Nisa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Andreas, and thank you for all the keynote speakers for the performing. It was a great exchange of ideas, right? So you may please be seated, perhaps. Okay, thank you.
Dear distinguished guests, as we move to the next agenda, we want to inform you that the souvenir delivery will now be occur. We are honored to have the Vice Rector for Research, Innovation and Accreditation, Associate Professor Dr. Herman S. Sugoto, MBA, accompanied by Conference Chair, Dr. Poni Sukaisih Kurniati, S.IP, M.Si. We can request the Vice Rectors and Conference Chair to join us on the stage.
As for the keynote speaker, please receive the souvenir delivery. Please to the center of the stage. this session, we kindly request all the keynote speakers as well as the moderators, together with Vice Rector and the conference chair, to have a group photograph. Okay, thank you. Please be kind to remain at side. Ladies and gentlemen, please be kind to remain at side. Okay, please be kind to remain at side because we are now going to have the souvenir delivery for our co-host, respectable conference co-host, Dr. Wati Susilawati, M.Si Dean of Faculty of Economy, Universitas Garut. Respectable our conference host, Muhammad Iqbal S.A.M.Com, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Institut Teknologi dan Bisnis Bina Sarana Global, and respectable our conference co-host, Nguyen Duy Quong, Manager of Scientific Management and International Affairs Department, Hien Universiti, Vietnam, to come to the stage for the souvenir delivery. Again, also we would like to ask your humble to have a photo group documentation, okay? Group photograph documentation right in the front, okay? Next, ladies and gentlemen, please be kind to remain because we still have our deans and vice rectors of Unicom to join us on the photo group documentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and for the last photo documentation, we humbly ask all the VIP guests, vice rectors, as well as keynote speaker, to come to the floor and to go have a together photograph with all the participants. Please go to the floor. And all the participants, please stand up and join us in this sessions. The photo group documentation, please join us to the front. You can come closer. Ladies and gentlemen, you can come closer if you want. Okay. Jadi ibu bapak, para peserta silakan maju ke depan. Ke depan saja biar lebih dekat. Silakan ke depan, meriahkan acara ini. Oke, saya coba pandu. Silakan, gaya pertama formal dulu. Okay, second pose, you can raise your thumb, okay, your thumb. Okay, and for the last pose, perhaps you, for Unicom. You. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Come back to your respective seat. Thank you for your kind patience, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated to your respective seat. We are going to continue the agenda.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this session has been highly productive, and I'm sure that we have all benefited greatly from it. Nevertheless, as we have limited time for the upcoming agenda, we must draw this session to a close.
Before the closing, we would like to kindly remind all participants to pay attention to the following informations. The lunch break will be held for 1 hour on the 16th floor of this building. The parallel session is scheduled from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. The parallel rooms for the sessions are located on the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 17th floors for the hybrid session. If you need assistance, please do not hesitate to ask the liaison officers and committee members who will gladly guide you. And we need to inform you also, praying rooms are available on the 16th floor of this building, on the 15th floor, on the 8th floor, and the second basement floor. And we need to kindly remind all participants to keep track of the agenda and be on time for each session.
Thank you once again for your participation in this conference. We sincerely hope to have the pleasure of your company at next year's meeting in 2025. We want to formally conclude this session on behalf of the committee. I'm M.Si
and I'm Tatan Tawami. We wish you a pleasant day ahead. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.